Japanese batteries are on the lookout for Chinese planes. For Chinese planes.
The rape of Nanking, also known as the Forgotten Holocaust.
A massacre of hundreds of thousands of Tutsis and moderate Hutu.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
There has been a second explosion.
It's terribly sad here in New York City. We've lost 5,000 fellow New Yorkers, and you can feel it.
This is one pocket of turmoil in the Egyptian capital. See the people below, trapped on Sinjar Mountain.
掉了可以倒过去就不一年不接受，不晓得以后我妈妈可能死了。
Was invited to China by Madame Jiang and President Chiang Kai-shek to visit and to observe and see what he could do to help the Chinese to organize the Air Force. And that was 1937.
July 26, 1937. All units on alert. Tension considerable.
Japanese batteries are on the lookout for Chinese planes. And here they come, bombers. British Movietone News records in these first authentic pictures the actual scene at Shanghai as the bombs aimed at the Japanese warships missed their target but burst in the docks. Part of the waterfront held by the Japanese is wrecked. And there's havoc in the Japanese concession. Modern war let loose on Shanghai, the international settlement cannot escape the consequences of war as bombs and shells crash. The Cathay Hotel is hit, Shanghai's biggest hotel, crowded with guests, when a huge aerial torpedo strikes it. Another falls on the pavement outside. Death and destruction follow, and a street panic as terrified people rush blindly in the vain search for safety. The bombing of the Cathay Hotel shocked the world, and these pictures have been rushed to the screen by ship and plane to portray with all the vivid truth of an eyewitness the senseless horror of war. And here's a big department store, another catastrophe of the first big battle at Shanghai. It was hit by shell fire in a wild duel of big guns, Chinese and Japanese, in Nanking Road, which runs from the famous Shanghai Bund. Casualties here in the busy center of the shopping district were terrible.
This situation led to the outbreak of the North China Incident. The Nanking government started a series of infringements in North China, resulting in the Japanese army to take security and self-defense measures to prevent further expansion of such events. On his way to the international settlement, First Lieutenant Isao Oyama, head of the Japanese Special Naval Landing Forces, was shot to death when his car was suddenly surrounded by members of the Chinese Peace Prevention Corps, who fired several dozen bullets at Oyama. The spot where he was shot was in the demilitarized zone established under the Shanghai Ceasefire Agreement. This incident was a well-planned act of provocation against uniformed members of the Imperial Japanese Navy. In all areas of Shanghai, Japanese residents, Chinese people, and other foreigners started to evacuate the danger zones immediately after the news spread. In the meantime, the Japanese military was mobilized as an emergency measure to protect Japanese residents and the nation's interests, but with only a small number of soldiers. Their intent was to seek ways for a negotiated settlement. The Japanese military tightened security against Chinese soldiers dozens of times bigger in size. The Chinese military showered machine gun fire against the Japanese military at 10 a.m. on August 13th. Finally, we had no choice but to fire back to defend ourselves. A little past 9 a.m. the following day, Chinese bombers suddenly flew over the headquarters of the Special Navy Landing Forces and launched an airstrike. Then the Chinese started a formation bombing on the Japanese consulate, military ships, and many of our bases. We fired back as well and drove them off. However, all of Shanghai City was thrown into turmoil as the Chinese military planes launched airstrikes even over the city's demilitarized zones. The Chinese military planes also launched a bombing campaign over the entertainment districts in the city, filled with several thousands of Chinese and foreign civilians. It was reportedly said that 940 people were killed and 1,400 others were injured because of this catastrophic bombing.